Indeed, Marty, you know, when these two counties met in the under-21 final last year, Down were 2 points ahead with time almost up, but Cork got a last-minute goal to snatch the victory and to break young Down hearts. You can be sure that if Down are 2 points up today, as the clock counts down, senior goalkeeper Brendan McVeigh will be doing his level best to keep his goal intact. Playing behind a full backline that now has Dan Gordon as its focal point at number 3, just his 6th game playing there. The half backline is anchored by Burren's Kevin McKernan, who managed to get forward and score 2 points against Kildare. It's as you were in midfield, with Peter Fitzpatrick again replacing Ambrose Rogers from the outset. The half forward line is also settled with Mark Poland, flanked by Danny Hughes and Benny Coulter. They'll inevitably be joined by Marty Clark, who'll prompt from a deep position, leaving John Clark and Paul McComiskey inside, although the latter will switch with Coulter from time to time. Let's get the thoughts of Martin Kearney.
Well, Jared Dunn have given a vote of confidence to the team that beat Kildare the last time out. And to be honest with you, I think it's a team that has thrived in the qualifiers. The defence is now, I think, much better with the return of Daniel McCartan. And the repositioning of Kevin McKernan as centre half back, I think, has been a big success. Up front, I think Marty Clark, to me, has been the ace in the pack. His stealth, his vision, his leadership have been instrumental, basically, in getting Down to this All-Ireland Sunday.
Yeah, he's a terrific player, and like Down, it's Cork's 8th game in this year's championship, and they're in the fortunate position of having the experienced Alan Quirk between the posts, playing in his 3rd All-Ireland final. The full back line shows Owen Cadigan from Douglas selected to get his first start in the championship and wearing number 2. With team captain Graham Canty ruled out with a hamstring injury, his place in defence goes to John Miskela. The midfield consists of Alan O'Connor and Aidan Walsh, the 6th time they've been paired together in this year's championship. Kieran Sheehan has been moved out to right half forward, and if he plays there, it was his position at under-21 level last year. But of course, it wouldn't surprise if Donegal O'Connor, listed at full forward, made the swap at some stage during today's final. Martin, your thoughts?
Well, league champions Cork, I think, in spite of the detractors, are here on merit share. The labels athletic and powerful, I think, are justified, but right through the team, they have skill in abundance. Paddy Kassan, I think, is very effective for them in defence. O'Connor and Walsh, I think, will gain ascendancy at midfield. But up front, I would expect Pat Kelly. He's been consistently very good all year. I'd expect him to give the leadership. Maybe that has been lacking sometimes this. And if the ball goes through quickly, and that is a big imperative, I think the inside forwards can thrive.
Thanks indeed, Martin. So the countdown continues to the 121st All-Ireland football final, and the first ever between Down and Cork. Michael.
Thanks, Ger. Conor Coonahan, the Cork manager, getting ready for the action about to unfold. Now, as we often say on occasions like this, of course, we're being watched all over the world, and greetings to everybody watching us, and greetings especially to some people in St Benedict's Irish Club in Ealing in London. Hello to you all there. Unfortunately, our one loyal member isn't with you today, of course, Jim Lester, but I have no doubt Jim is looking down from someplace above. One fascinating or interesting thing, Pat, about today's match, of course, is the teams playing in a change strip, both Down and Cork, and if Graham Canty doesn't play, as it looks like he won't play, 2 stand-in captains as well.
Yeah, and actually something very unique as well. Well, not unique, but I mean, the managers today, whichever team wins, they will join a very select band of fellas to have managed and won as a player at All-Ireland medals. Yes. I think it's 6 already. There's Paddy O'Shea and Mick O'Dwyer of Kerry, Kevin Heffernan, Pat O'Neill, and somebody else from Dublin. I'm missing somebody. Kevin Heffernan, Pat O'Neill, and Tony Hanaho, and Billy Morgan. And
Billy, yes, yeah.
But I'm sure, you know, change of colours. They'll have been training all weekend indoors with those white jerseys, and they will have been playing. The opposition will have been wearing that yellow jersey. So look, it's so intriguing. Like that.
I remember those white jerseys winning All Ireland back in 1973 against Galway.
That's
right.
It didn't do them much harm. Murphy didn't do them any harm that day.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, Jimmy scored a great goal down there at the railway end near the end of that. It was a very high scoring game. But you know, it is a change of colour. It'll be a winner in the red, and I suppose also there's the President of Ireland, Mary McAleese, and the President of GEA. There'll be fair divided loyalties down there too, one shouting for Down and one shouting for Cork. So yes. I suppose maybe they'll have to have a diplomatic silence in the Ard Corla.
In the group at the moment, Joe Bradley, you were making the point that, you know, Cork are kind of set up for this kind of not defensive game, but
they're not. They play, but they would be brilliant, I think, at that defensive game, because you know they've got 2 brilliant link men in Kerrigan and Pat Kelly, who've got terrific engines, who'd be absolutely brilliant playing that sort of Brian McGuigan role, and then leaving a 2-man full forward line. I mean, one of the problems that they've had is that there's no longer enough room in the modern game for 3 full forwards, but they persist with 3 full forwards, and there's just not enough room. You know, a team's now out of their defence. They have a two-man full forward line, players running at the diagonal. What you often found in the Dublin game was that the three Cork full forwards were standing in behind the blanket defence where you couldn't see them, and there was no room for anyone to move into, which led to all sorts of problems, which is one of the reasons, Pat, why Cork were hand passing back and forward across the cordon.
In a way, you've probably just highlighted the reason why Cork haven't won in All-Ireland over the last number of years, and that is in the forwards. And there's no real class forward, there's no forward that's unmarkable on his day there, and there's no real leader in that forward line as well, And the other thing about it, you see that half forward line are very good going forward, but this year they've played too often back in defence and contributing little in attack.
But I'm more on the point that the full forward line tends to be starved of good possession. They don't get the ball in dangerous positions. You watch Down, for example, or even the Dubs the last day. In spite of the fact that they were very reliant on Brogan, the number of near shaves that Cork had where a ball was given in and it could have been in the net. Players were left one-on-one against their man, whereas up the other end, Cork were facing a wall of blue jerseys.
What they need to do is kick the ball long, but not just straight up and down the field. They need to use the diagonal ball. And they have big forwards who will have a height advantage over some of their markers, and the ball is going to be dry. The sun is out here now. It's time to use the high ball in.
I just noticed a second ago there, Pat Spillane, Graham Canty putting in his gum shield. Now, you don't need the gum shield if you're sitting up in the stand, or is that just habit?
I don't know, isn't it crazy, Michael? I just can't buy into this will he, won't he, whatever like that. Like I said, I'm from the old school where you say this is the 15 we're starting with. No gimmicks, no whatever like that. Beat us if you can.
I do remember Steve Davis chalking his cue after being beaten in the World Snooker Championship by Dennis Taylor.
So it was an involuntary spasm.
Well, they'll want Canty out there, I suppose.
Look, he provides leadership.
He's the captain. He'll probably be out there to meet the president, things like that. If he starts, it'll be a shock, because if there's 10 minutes in Canty, it would be better 10 minutes at the end rather than at the start.
Yeah, okay. The guest of honour, as usual, here at Croke Park for today's All-Ireland Senior Football Final is the President of Ireland, Mary McAleese, and she is accompanied by her husband Martin and by the GA President Christy Cooney.
So Her Excellency, President Mary McAleese, now comes along to meet the players in today's final, accompanied by GEA President Christy Cooney, both of them having to be neutral, or as neutral as a proud Ulster woman with strong allegiance to Down can be right now, alongside an equally proud Cork man. And the Down captain on the field today, Benny Coulter, scorer of over 100 championship points, would you include his 19 goals in that tally. He's certainly been a model of consistency over the years, yet never honoured with an All-Star, which won't cause him a thought, I'm sure, if he wins the far more important, elusive All-Ireland medal right now. Introducing Mark Poland, and there is Paul McComiskey, John Clark and his brother Marty Clark, about whom there's been so much talk in the build-up to this particular match. So Benny wished the very best. The referee is David Coldrick from Meath, his second final. His linesman will be Garrett O'Canova from Angallup and Maurice Teagan from Laois. Sil Doyle of Wexford is the sideline official. And the umpires today are Tony Carney and John Coldrick from Blackhall Kells, James Matthews from Corktown and Stephen O'Hara from Sidon. So they are now being introduced to President McAleese. Now it's the turn of Cork's stand-in captain today, Michael Shields. Michael, who also led the side here when they won the National League Division 1. Graham Canty was also out injured that day when they played against Mayo. So introducing his men, Aidan Walsh there, playing in midfield. Big Pierce O'Neill, all 6'5" of him. Daniel Goulding. And then the final man is Paul Kerrigan from Nemo Rangers. So the President wishes Michael Shields the very best, and the two presidents make their way off. The introductions now complete, and the first ever All-Ireland GAA football final between Down and Cork is just a matter of minutes away.
McAleese, born in Belfast, in Antrim, but spent many of her childhood years in Rostrevor in County Down, so I suppose we do know where her loyalties will be today. and Liam or Stuart Hoare of Cumlough Glasgow and former Taoiseach Bertie Ahern also looking forward to this game here with us today. Final thoughts, Joe Brody?
Well, I just think that Down are a thoroughly modern team. You know, they're built for speed. They're playing along the Tyrone lines. You know, they've worked very hard at getting it right this year. They've improved from game to game. It's clearly a thinking sideline. They're a very happy team. That's why you see them playing in the groove, zippy. You know, a bit of the old electrifying sort of atmosphere about them. And I think they'll win the game today, barring unforeseen events.
Well, I think the definition of stupidity is if you keep doing the same thing over and over again and expect a different result, and that's why I think that Cork can't do the same as they've been doing in a lot of games this year with their hand passing. I expect a different approach. I think they have power and pace. They've been around a long time. They have the experience. They were brilliant early in the year when they won the league. If they're able to reproduce that sort of form, I think they'll win.
What you did say about the minor match, where the minor Cork players changed their tactics a bit. You can't do the same thing all year and then expect to change it for one day.
Well, they've had a month, and I'm sure when they went back into training on the Tuesday night after they were fortuitous winners over Dublin, they said, we're going to change our style of play and we're going to let the ball in high.
And the high ball will trouble Down, there's no doubt about that.
There's a lot to recommend and to tip Down because they are the foreign team. But I just think if Cork can play the game more direct, play the game at pace, put the Down full back line under pressure, I think they are vulnerable. And on top of that, Cork have the experience and the subs bench to tip them over the line. I think Cork are going to win it.
Well, fortunately the gods are shining on Croke Park for this All-Ireland final because as you can see from our pictures, the rain has cleared away and the sun has come out. But who will the gods be shining on in the final itself? It is the All-Ireland football final of 2010 and it's back to our big match commentators Ger Canning and Martin Carney.
Thank you very much indeed, Michael. Well, they may not be wearing it, but red is the predominant colour all around Croke Park. What a setting. Absolutely brilliant. And as you say, Michael, the gods are smiling down upon us right now because the rain has eased. It's a pleasant evening, just a little windy, great sense of anticipation. And as usual on All-Ireland final day, Croke Park bristling with anticipation at the end of another eventful and memorable championship. After which, of course, the two left standing have made it football's biggest day of the year. You've got to be the best to get to the final, they say, and let's see if these two are the best. They should be. There's always a certain timelessness, I think, associated with the parade before the All-Ireland football final. It marks a particular time in the year for football fans, and it draws in followers from the four corners of the earth, wherever Irish people can gather, where there's a TV with a picture beamed from Croke Park. And with more of our people abroad this year, the football final is truly an invitation to share with us now in how the 2010 championship reaches its conclusion. For the winner, it will be the time of their lives. For the loser, utter desolation. The bookmakers have installed Cork as favourites. I wonder if they got it right. Were they to lose a third final in 4 years, well, for Cork, it would very likely be that case of the supporters' patience at breaking point. Win and they'll be heroes. That's the kind of pressure they're under. Martin Carney, your thoughts?
Well, looking at the two teams, I think, Ger, one of the things I think Colin alluded to a couple of moments ago, if Cork indulged in the same hand-passing, overindulgence that they did the last day, I think they're going to get the same results. They're going to be, very, very indirect. I think they've got to let the ball in quickly. I think they have a very good foot-forward line if they get early ball. Down on the other hand, I'd be very interested to see how they have dealt with the build-up. It can be distracting, it can be daunting somewhat, given the fact that it's their first final. Okay, they're synonymous with imaginative football, with sweeping forward play, with dash and movement and all of those kind of things, and I would expect that from them. But I do believe that the experience over the last couple of years that Cork have endured, we'll put it, should stand at them today. And today is Atonement Day in the Jewish calendar, and I feel myself it's a great day for Cork to make atonement for what happened over the last couple of years and come out with a win.
Well, Cork have won the toss and they're lined up, as you can see there, on their own 45-metre line, and they're going to play with the aid of a light breeze behind them for the opening 35 minutes. Donegal O'Connor there on the right. Alongside him was Ray Carey. Moving along the line, the tall man Pearse O'Neill will be at centre half forward. They're in their change strip. The last time they wore white in a final was 1973. They won it. So the sky's clearing over Croke Park, cloud there as well, a nice mixture nonetheless. and we're hoping for a dry evening and a good game as everybody stands now for our on-reveal. Versus South, down against Cork in the 2010 GAA All-Ireland Football Final. Is it to be a repeat of 1990 when Cork last triumphed in football, or 1991 when Tip won in hurling and Down took Sam Maguire back over the border, back to the Mourns? Couple of switches with Kieran Sheehan and Daniel Goulding switching their positions, and Sheehan's got into top of the left. But they'll be moving and switching, and the marking alignment's got to be interesting as well, just to see who's picking up whom.
Well, actually, Owen Cadigan, I think, has been earmarked to take up Marty Clark at the moment. Whether that will result with Clark comes out the field is another thing.
That's the big prize. Sam Maguire, the most famous trophy in Irish sport. David Coldrick from Meath gets the final underway, and straight away it's Cork who tried to mount their first attack. Down there as far as Donnacha O'Connor, releasing it to Alan O'Connor, his namesake, and he's blazed it to the left, and he's missed the opening opportunity. That was a good chance, a little bit more composure required.
Well, his early moments, and again, lovely little layoff, great support running at a good angle, but snatched at the shot. He had much more room actually in front of him had he gone on another bit.
Well, they had 13 wides in their semi-final, and 9 of those in the first half against Dublin. Brendan McVeigh from Onriocht kicking this one to the centre of the field. O'Connor rising up for it again and taking it down magnificently. Held there by Paddy Kissan, winning the free kick as he was being straight away into the inside forwards. It goes towards Sheehan, broken down to Donnacha O'Connor, fed back to Sheehan. Goal chance, well saved, and it's put in the back. No, it's not. Somehow it stays out. Great defending by Down. And a missed opportunity, a gilt-edged opportunity for Cork to have snatched their goal there. There should be a goal and a point up at this stage. Still no score. Miskala driving it back once more. Down under ferocious pressure. Pa Kelly now trying to make something out of Cork's third attack. And he's held, and it's going to be a free in. So they have a chance of getting a point. By now there should be 4 points up, but the goalkeeper, Brendan McVeigh, denied Cork. Just watch it again.
Yeah, Kieran Sheehan this time, good awareness on his part. No, I think he went for the shot first. Great save by McVeigh, and again a good follow-up by Daniel McCartan to take the ball off the line. Cork should have scored a goal.
Daniel Goulding eventually raises the Cork cheers with his first point of this match. So Cork go in front, 3 attacks, finally producing something. Here it was again, this was the save. Now watch the follow-up, somehow taken off that line. Great defending there by Dan McCartan.
Certainly was great anticipation by Dan McCartan that time, but that's twice that the downfall backline has been ripped to shreds in the first couple of minutes.
The 2 down cornerbacks, by the way, have switched their positions. Goulding's been picked up by Dan McCartan, so he's playing left corner back. Again, a kick out, one in the middle of the park by Cork, and Aidan Walsh. Down held again by Donnacha O'Connor. He's gone 45 metres out from the target. Paul Kerrigan pursued by Kevin McKernan. It's all Cork in the opening minutes. Down get the possession back, however, through McKernan's persistence. Now Marty Clark, as anticipated, has gone way out the field there. Wins the free kick. Linking up here with Calum King. Here's Danny Hughes. He's had a great season so far, Danny Hughes. Again, he sets off. Now Benny Coulter. Shields being the one who was marking Benny Coulter. Back once again to Danny Hughes, trying to get a scoring opportunity for one of his colleagues. It's Coulter who has a go. It's going to drop to the left, and he's put the ball wide. Down's first attack of the match. So much will depend on this man, Benny Cook. Nervous start for James McCartan's team.
Yeah, but an interesting attack that time again. They're going to have more joy, I think, by going down the flanks. Okay, the end result that time was very poor, but Cork have gone through the middle twice. Down with their only attack have gone down the flanks. I think they'll be trying to do that continuously today.
First kick out of the match then for Alan Croke. It'll be interesting to see how Cork do on their own kick-outs now. He's gone towards the wings, and it's won there by Peter Fitzpatrick, beating his opposite number, Alan O'Connor, to it. Taken by Mark Poland. Rolled up towards John Clark. What will be expected of John Clark today to try and provide a menacing figure in front of the Cork full back line. They need a presence in there. Kerrigan back once again here. Niskala feeding it back towards the Nemo Rangers player. Out quickly for it there was Dan McCartan. Here's Kevin McKernan. Again it's Mark Poland. Coulter. Shields trying to get tight. Out once again came McComiskey. Back towards Marty Clark. Final shot by Danny Hughes. And Danny Hughes puts this one over the bar. First point of the match for Down. And that will settle down this Down challenge very much. They needed a score here, and it is Danny Hughes who produces it for them.
Yeah, and a lovely bit of patience built up that time. Clark's vision, though, was exemplary.
Great catch again by Aidan Walsh. If there were a mark in the game, that was it. Fouled anyway, so he's leaving it here for Paddy Cassan to take the return. Back out towards the Kanturk man once again, the 20-year-old. Now he's got a bit of latitude here. Kieran Sheehan taking it in, trying to make progress. He does well. Oh, he's gone well ahead, and he loses his control and lost his way. And Down got a lot of players back, and the ball was handled on the ground in the end by Sheehan, and it's a free out. That should have been another scoring opportunity for Cork. They've spurned at least 3 so far.
Yeah, but that's one of the problems actually about the surface today. It has rained very heavily throughout the minor game and all morning. The surface is still very wet, and to hop the ball is a disaster really for players. Sheehan should have kept that ball in hand and got for his point.
From McVeigh's free for Down. Good running by Danny Hughes. But he's got a lot of work to do from a deep position here. Oh, Declan Rooney slipped. Doesn't come back to a Down player. Comes to Pa Kelly instead. Kelly, who engineered the free from which Cork got their only points so far. Back with Mark Poland. Very industrious, very hard-working man on the 40. Well, notionally anyway. From Rooney. Forward here again as far as Peter Fitzpatrick. And the 22-year-old fouled, leaving the free kick to Mark Poland. Marty Clark comes running, takes his man with him. On that occasion it was Noel O'Leary who came out. Now Benny Coulter. Clever ball. McComiskey trying to get in on the blind side of the defender was Ray Carey. Now trying to make an angle, going this way and that. Onto his right. It's a tricky angle, just a little bit too acute on this occasion. Good young player. Paul McComiskey scored a goal and 3 here back in the 2005 minor final, I remember. Didn't get man of the match that day when they beat Mayo. It was Marty Clark got that. But he got his All-Ireland minor medal. Looking for a senior this afternoon with 7 minutes gone and the game level at a point apiece. Should be Down's possession. Callum King again releasing it quickly to Mark Poland. The big men in the middle just win possession, lay it off smartly. It's a simple and effective philosophy. Benny Coulter against Shields. Again it goes left, and again a missed opportunity. Third wide for Down. Coulter solos very confidently here. Big task for Michael Shields.
Yeah, big task. I'm surprised Michael Shields marking him in one way, and I'm more surprised actually by Noel O'Leary marking Marty Clark, because I think whoever marks Marty Clark needs to be very disciplined, and sometimes that is a particular moniker you don't associate with Noel O'Leary.
Because Clark is a central figure in everything that Down have been doing this year. Only 22 years of age, great football brain, back from Collingwood, who play next weekend, by the way, in the grand final in Australia. That's It's won by Cork, and it's Shields from the knockdown. Quick look up now. Difficult one there. O'Connor, won instead by Dan Gordon. Back out here as far as Poland again. Slipping it out as far as Conor Garvey. Setting off, showing too much of that. In came Pa Kelly. But again, there's an opportunity to run at the Cork defence. Declan Rooney this time. Recycling it back as far as Damien Rafferty, the Newry Shamrocks player. Very experienced man. Fitzpatrick laying it in here, broken down on as far as Paul McComiskey, scoring chance for McComiskey. Lovely economical style. His first point, and down, go in front in the All-Ireland final after 9 minutes.
Yes, that's a beautifully worked score again. McComiskey got on the end of a very good move that time. Leapfrogged over one player, shot a very good score, but the down ability to get the ball down the wings at the moment is causing Cork trouble.
And credit John Clark that time for knocking it down for McComiskey. Did well. Now what can Cork do in the counter-attack? They can lay it back to Pa Kelly from Donegal O'Connor. Here's John Miskela. Worst kept secret, I think, in Gaelic games was that Miskela was going to start this match and that Graham Canty was not because of the injury. It's another wasted opportunity. As per usual, Conor Coonahan there alongside Terry O'Neill on his right as we see it, the manager and selector, starting the game up in the stands, getting an overview of proceedings. Cork have done better in the second half. I'm sure that's down to what he has observed and been able to implement during the halftime team talk in particular. McVeigh's kick out reaches Marty Clark, quickly laid off. This is beautiful. Hughes jinking, staying balanced, staying in control, but finishing very poorly. Well, he'll be disappointed with that one. That wasn't his best effort.
Yeah, that was very simple actually. A lovely kick out, break well won by Down. Again, Danny Hughes that time had much more time than he realised. He should have finished that off with a score.
The wides mounting up for Down as Owen Cadigan bursts forward. First start for him in the championship in football. It goes via Sheehan as far as Noel O'Leary. Back here to Paul Kerrigan. Well, it's midway between the corner flag and the goal post. Not terribly good. Cork scored now for some 9 minutes.
Reminds me a little bit about with last year's All-Ireland final when Cork were shooting into that goals against Kerry. They started to shoot from distance again, somewhat recklessly. At the moment they've lost the shape in their full forward line somewhat, and there's not enough movement going on in there. And I think rather than shots like that, they need to work the ball in quicker, and maybe the full forwards then getting it out to half forwards coming through in the burst.
Brendan McVeigh. Again, the battle for supremacy in the middle of the park, claimed brilliantly by Alan O'Connor. Back to Michael Shields, today's on-field captain. Paul Kerrigan now, who had that miss, taking off past Kevin McKernan. This is good by Kerrigan, and he's won a free in. So a chance for Cork to draw level. Their only point, of course, coming from the boot of Daniel Goulding from a free kick. This was good pace, good penetration by Paul Kerrigan, drawing the foul. So once again, Daniel Goulding ready to hit this. He's on 7 goals and 77 points so far, which is 98 points in all. And he's put this one over, so it's 99 for his tally, and Cork draw level.
Yeah, both teams have settled very well into the game. I think Down in particular, for a team that are in the first All-Ireland since 1994, are doing very, very well. I know it's new players and all of that, but they're very much at home on the occasion today. They're showing no inhibitions whatsoever. They're full of confidence and playing some very good football.
And they have this unbeaten record in finals that's been much spoken about, of course. 5 final appearances, 5 final victories. Clark pushed by Noel O'Leary. That's that curious match-up, and the referee will bring the ball forward 13 metres because Cork are deemed not to have been that distance from the ball, but I think they're complaining that the free was hit into the back of a Cork player as he was walking away from it. Just have a look at this again. Did they have their backs to it? Yeah, you see Noel O'Leary was walking away from it and it hit him in the back.
Yeah, I just get the feeling actually the referee might have actually been moving it forward before that. Maybe there was some dissent on the part of the Cork team.
It's quite possible. Marty Clark then looking for his first point of this match and to put his team back in front again. From about 40 out, it's an easy enough kick for him by his high standards, and Down lead by 3 points to 2. Well, it's a Down team beaten by Tyrone earlier on in the championship, in the Ulster Championship at that, but they learned an awful lot as a result of that defeat, I think, and they implemented the lessons from that, which is to the credit of the management.
Very much so, and I think in particular putting Kevin McKernan in the centre half back has brought them on an awful lot since then. And also actually the recall of Daniel McCartan from suspension. He was sent off in the League 2 division final here against Armagh, but he has tightened things up immensely at the back.
Alan Quirk slips as he kicks this one out, and again it is Down who are winning the Cork kick-outs and cleverly setting up a chance here. John Clark, his fourth time to play in Croke Park this season, and he scored eventually. Didn't score in the Division 2 League final or in the other championship matches here, but he's got a point in the all-important All-Ireland final, and Down lead by double scores, 4 points to 2. It was very much down to the individual skill of John Clark, older brother of Marty.
Yeah, and I think there was an unfortunate slip on the part of a Cork defender at that time, which made it that little bit easier. But Cork are in the middle of the field, they're not getting the possession that I expected them to get.
Well, Cork's only scored so far 2 pointed frees. Maybe it's that missed goal opportunity in the opening minutes that has unsettled them somewhat for starters, but now they're very much rattled and riled by the persistence of Down and the way in which Down are harassing them and tackling and pressurising them and forcing them into making errors. Cadigan this time.
Well, that typifies the Down attitude today. They're full of spirit, full of verve, and again going for everything. But Cork will be very disappointed, as I said, that their big players around the middle of the park are not winning kickouts, and I would feel myself that Alan Quirk needs to drive the ball out long rather than placing it to the wings, because I think around the middle they have a decided height advantage.
Well, this should be absolutely ideal for Marty Clark, kicking with the left boot, curling it in, no real trouble, over the bar, and another for Down. And everybody in the full forward line has now scored, 4 points between them. That's good going. As you say, they have settled, nothing to do with this first time out in an All-Ireland final. It hasn't worried them one. They always say that when Down get to a final, they bring a certain swagger, a certain confidence with them, and that's been demonstrated out there right now. By comparison, Cork full of effort, but there's a degree of hesitation as well, and maybe just looking for a break or two. Aidan Walsh kicked it poorly. Out came Dan Gordon. Very much a stopgap fullback, preferred to be playing in midfield, I'm sure. Benny Coulter, he'll play anywhere. Left half forward at this stage, holding it, waiting for Kevin McKernan to come onto. Looking to add to the All-Ireland medal his dad got here back in 91, as that's kicked by Peter Fitzpatrick, and he's missed the opportunity and he's put it wide. Well, he was man of the match in that under-21 final that was played last year. Didn't win the All-Ireland medal that day, but he gave a terrific performance.
He'll be very disappointed with that, because once more I think it was Daniel Hughes got loose from his marker. Fitzpatrick coming up on the overlap got the opportunity but shot it bad wide. Down are really on top around the middle of the park at the moment.
Cork looking to try and win this kick out, and they just might get the break this time. It's Aidan Walsh who gets away. Nicely forward here by John Miskela. Looking to shoot himself. It's going to drop short. Easy one for Brendan McVeigh to take. Held onto by Kevin McKernan. Slipping it outside to Peter Fitzpatrick. And the midfielder just waits. There's no pressure on him. Great ball. Brilliant ball. Poland gets free. Gets inside the marker. Gets inside Kisan. Now, or sorry, Miskela rather. Back once again towards McComiskey. Looking to shoot under pressure, and he's put it over the bar, and it's a great start to this match for Down. They weathered the early pressure against Cork. They got lucky with the goal that Cork might have scored. They've come back confidently, and they're all scoring freely, and they're looking very, very confident. Look at this for a pass. It was absolutely brilliant. Perfect delivery. You could see Miskela, who had been up the other end, chasing back after it.
Yeah, the foot passing is excellent. Peter Fitzpatrick that time it was who executed, but the movement I think at the moment of the down forward line is just outstanding. It's causing huge problems for the Cork defence. They're finding it very difficult to track their markers. On top of that, the likes of Pearse O'Neill, who's been spoken to at the moment, hasn't touched the ball yet, hasn't really got into it from the first moment, and they need leaders at the moment. They seem to be lacking in confidence and inhibited, and that surprises me about a team who's been here a number of occasions over the last couple of years.
Well, Cork's record in All-Ireland finals is rather abysmal. This is their 25th time to play in an All-Ireland final. They've won only 6 so far of the previous 24 finals. I think if there were a building firm, they'd probably be in Nama at this stage. That's kicked out into the middle, and it's fisted back by Peter Fitzpatrick. Here comes John Miskela, pursued by Mark Poland. Fouled. Free kick. The big players, as you say, Martin, have got to get into this game for Cork if they're to put in a sustained challenge. That's prodded forward by Kieran Sheehan, trying to get the better there of his marker, who's Rafferty. Sheehan still, everybody claiming it, and the linesman on this near side saying that's going to be a line ball to down, playing in the change strip.
Yes, that's a good call actually by the linesman, but equally so it's a second good call because I think Daniel McCartan that time took the ball from inside the boundary line, so it's a throw up 13 metres from the sideline.
Let's just have a look at this again here.
Yes, it came off Kieran Sheehan, so the first call is right, and subsequent call was correct also by the linesman. Well done.
So this throw 13 metres in from the near sideline, and that time the referee seems to indict Pearse O'Neill. And Down have the possession, and they can start again. That's a poor kick away by Brendan McVeigh. Should have been taken by Shields, but he did enough on it anyway to get it to Miskela. Now Goulding, held on to here by Aidan Walsh, but it's 50 metres out from the target. A little bit of movement ahead here from Paul Kerrigan, but really into the corner. And there's a lot of work to do from here just to try and create a scoring chance. And Cork, as you can see, are 4 points behind. Here's Pádraig Hassan. Great pressure from Down. Excellent defensive work. They're working as a unit, working as a team. Brilliant play. Declan Rooney feeding it out here as far as Danny Hughes. Points so far for the 28-year-old from Saville. Slipped back in here to Poland. Everything seems to go through him. Marty Clark playing further forward than I've seen in recent championship matches. He's tended to play very, very deep on occasions, but he's a real threat, a real menace for Cork. Or he was looking there for Paul McComiskey, but it was well defended by Ray Carey. That needed his intervention. Goalkeeper trying to set up Pádraig Hassan here, trying to hurry it forward. Cork go lateral, and that time Miskela fouled by McComiskey, and Cork have the opportunity with Ray Carey here, linking up with Alan O'Connor. Waiting for movement, and it's coming back again. Cork static in that inside forward line. Need more people creating more of a menace in there, and Down are comfortably able to handle all of the threats so far presented.
Yes, Down are first to every ball at the moment. The likes of, for example, Donald O'Connor hasn't got into the game at all. He seems strangely subdued, not going hard for it, and that's very untypical.
Here's Pearse O'Neill playing it back here again. This shot has gone to the left, and this one has gone wide, and it's a wasted opportunity, and certainly the management team must be very, very displeased with what they've seen so far. This was fed back out here as far as Paul Kerrigan. That's the one that went astray there, and that's yet another wide for Cork. That is their 4th so far.
Yeah, but you must credit the pressure that the Down defence are putting on the Cork attackers. They're not giving them any room. The pressure around the middle of the field is immense, and at the moment Down seems so comfortable by comparison with Cork.
10 minutes since Cork scored, and they've now restructured their forward line, and Sheehan has now gone back to right half forward. Paul Kerrigan's gone back to top of the left. It's as they were programmed, in other words. So another attack. Down have had their spell of dominance. Cork now look for scores from Pa Kelly's pass. O'Connor has lost it. That's great defending again. Good, simple and effective defending, that time by Rooney, just slipping in the right hand, dispossessing the forward, doing everything right so far. Peter Fitzpatrick. That's too long, that's too ambitious, and it's easy for Cadogan to come, or should have been. Manages to get it back as far as Miskela. Now Aidan Walsh, about to be challenged, overhits the pass. An elementary mistake. and Down will take the opportunity now once again, but McComiskey trying to set up. Coulter has moved inside, this time won by Shields, and Cork have it back again. That's Owen Cadigan, hurler come footballer. Kerrigan just trying to steal a march on Damien Rafferty, and the referee saw what was going on and saw the push on the Shamrocks player. Free to Down.
Yeah, dare I say it, Ger, but at the moment I think Cork look like a team that are overtrained. They look very tired, they look very slow going to the ball, devoid of energy, whereas Down are full of verve, full of imagination, managing to get their big players into the game. Just at the moment the leadership is absent from the Cork team that I would have expected to be manifest at this stage.
And Paul Kerrigan has got himself a yellow card, one foul too many, I'm afraid, from his point of view, and David Coldrick from Meath has showed him the card. Down goes short from the free kick. Conor Garvey slipping it ahead to McKernan. Remember, he got those two tremendous points against Kildare in the semi-final. That pass was just too far ahead of him. So line ball to Cork. Cork crowd getting a bit edgy. Only 2 points for them so far, both of them from free kicks. There's a Down player on the ground. That's Conor Garvey. And the referee, I think, not buying what Garvey was obviously intimating, that he was being fouled, so he told him get up, and Garvey did. Carey down as far as Pierce O'Neill, back once again to the man who took that sideline kick. Now Kissan. Two wing backs have been pinned back here, really, Noel O'Leary and Kissan. Now let's see what the forwards can do with this one as O'Connor tries to break it. Pierce O'Neill slips out the right leg. It comes eventually to Park Kelly, who's been in very good form this year. And they go back to the middle of the park. Now look for an opening. Miskela had one shot that dropped short earlier on, and this one has gone away to the left. They are looking like a side really lacking in confidence.
Lacking in confidence, rudderless, being rushed into errors all the time. Down by contrast are way sharper than Cork. This surprises me hugely, because I thought maybe they stuttered into the final, you could say Cork did, but I'd expected today that they would have got rid of a lot of the errors that there had been there beforehand and come up with a big performance today. So far it's missing.
Scoring chances so far, you can see Down creating 3 more than Cork. And they've got a free kick from their own 65-metre line. Slipping it out here to Danny Hughes. Now what can he do? 2 Cork men out there to challenge, to try and take it from him. The Cork team beaten in the All-Ireland Kerry in 2007, beaten again in 2009. That's a lovely pass back to Hughes. Scoring chance here, might even be a goal chance. Oh, it's up and it's over the bar. Danny Hughes. Well, he seems to be summing up his options there as he was coming forward into the angle, and the Down fans happy enough that he took the point eventually. Fisted it over just for a moment. I think they probably thought it was going to drop short and into the net, and they wouldn't have counted. It
was so simple though, a lovely bit of slick movement by a nippy player who's been outstanding all year, thinking quicker than Cork are at the moment. Downer got the opportunity and took it. Probably took the percentages. He had Clark open for a goal possibility, but did the right thing and put it over.
Well, the physios are out attending to Paddy Kissan here, who's been one of the most consistent players in the championship this season for Cork, attended there by Colin Lane and Michael O'Leary, the assistant physio. Well, they're still sitting there in the stand. I often wonder, I know you've expressed your view that it's a good idea to sit up in the stand and take an overview, but they are now 27 minutes into the game. I like to see managers down on the side of the field, I have to say, urging, cajoling, maybe criticising. There's a presence there at least.
Well, there's a presence, but I would still agree with what Conor Coonahan is doing by getting this overview of the game from a more elevated position. But just going back to the Down situation at the moment, okay, maybe they're buoyed up by their legacy of never been beaten in an All-Ireland final, but there's no doubt about it, they're way less fearful today than Cork are. Cork are hamstrung at the moment with fear right throughout their team.
Alan Quirk kicking it, and there was some pushing this time by a Down defender, and it's Caleb King. So the free kick taken. King bends his back, couldn't take it the first time, needs a little support. Oop, they fumbled it there, but they were lucky enough to get it back, and Benny Coulter feeds it in. Marty Clark pushed from behind by Noel O'Leary. And Noel O'Leary is certainly having his hands full in this matchup with Marty Clark. As you said earlier, Martin, it wasn't the matchup we were anticipating. Here's John Clark, 5 years older than his brother, back towards McComiskey. John Clark, having scored earlier on, having felt confident, lets it in. Alan Quirk does well, gets his fist to it, it goes behind, and it's the game's first 45. Well, he had to come out that time, and by the body language there, Alan Quirk isn't one bit pleased with himself. The 33-year-old came out here, was left isolated, had to concede the 45, but there's not a great deal happening in front of him.
No, there's not a great deal happening, but I think what's happening with Benny Coulter at the moment is that he may have jarred his knee during that particular event, and I'd say he'd be requiring treatment. Just hope from a down point of view it isn't serious.
Yeah, he'd be a huge loss, just as Graham Canty is a huge loss for Cork. They were hoping that they might be able to get some minutes out of Graham Canty. They're going to need him, just as Down certainly need Benny Coulter. Back on his feet anyway. Marty Clark to take the resultant 45. He scored 2 points from frees already. Drills this one, but hits it to the right, and he's put it wide. Well, he's the man who scored a goal and 17 when he was a schoolboy, only in 5th class in his school in a college's match. An amazing tally over 60 minutes. Paddy Cassan pinned back. Alan Quirk now. Disappointing final so far for neutrals, and certainly for the Cork fans who've travelled here in big numbers, but everything going right for Down. Can they keep it going? Kerrigan is fouled by Damien Rafferty. Free into Cork. Cork's last score was in the 12th minute, so we've gone a good 17-18 minutes, and 2 frees. Their only return so far, a rather miserable return from a first half where they haven't really played as they are able to, but credit Down, they didn't leave them. Donnacha O'Connor is going to take this. Well, he needs a score just to try and get his confidence going. Cork need a score as well just to give them a boost. And this curls, but yes, it curls just inside. Just about made it. A point for Cork then, cutting into the deficit, and it's 7 points to 3. All of Cork's scores from frees.
Yeah, beautifully struck. Just came in at the last minute, and that'll do Donnacha O'Connor a lot of good, because he's been very quiet up to now and hasn't been able to break loose from the clutches of Dan Gordon, who's playing him very cleverly.
But 5 minutes to go to the break. So far so good for Down, but again from their own kick out, it's Cork who are winning those. It's rather a strange situation, because Down on the Cork kick-outs. Miskela laying it in towards O'Connor, released to Pierce O'Neill. Again, look at the number of Down players who close in and back out towards Goulding, setting his foot through this and putting it over the bar. His 3rd point, his 100th in the championship. More importantly today, however, Cork's first point from play comes at the 32nd minute, would you believe, and it's put 3 between them. And even though Cork haven't played at all in this first half, as they're usually able to, they're back in the game with 2 in a row.
Very true, Ger. That's the amazing thing about it. Down completely in the ascendancy, but yet in the scoreboard there's only a miserable 3 points between them.
And Miskela now is beginning to win a lot of ball there around the half-back line. Distribution here just a little poor, however. Over-ambitious hit to Paul Kerrigan. Kerrigan, the only player with a yellow card against his name in the match. Line ball kicked in as far as Marty Clark. Again, O'Leary chases after him, but really he's just chasing and trying to limit his effectiveness, not really winning an awful lot of ball against Marty Clark. Rooney back as far as Rafferty, slipped back into Poland. They hold, nothing silly, and then they wait for a decent run forward, and there are players up there like Danny Hughes who can get on the ball and get out ahead of the defender, look smart, release it back towards Kevin McKernan. Big ambitious one in. Benny's ready to jump for it. He's got it as well, and down he goes, and it's going to be a free in. Magnificent play by Benny Coulter, the 28-year-old from Mayo Bridge. Well, he's tormented so many backlines in the past. Good to see him here in an All-Ireland final, getting his chance. He's one of those players, I feel, had he been around in the 90s, he'd have an All-Ireland medal to his name at this stage.
That was a majestic piece of fielding that time. It reminded me of a photograph I saw in yesterday's paper with was it Shawnee Walsh and Brian Mullins going up for a ball. That was wonderful to witness. Great catch, and the reward now is an opportunity for Marty Clark.
And Marty Clark puts it over. 3 points, all of them coming from frees after the mercurial Benny Coulter won it in the air and was fouled, and it's 8 points to 4. 34 minutes into the All-Ireland final, the 121st. Alan Quirk just looking around, summing up to see where can he kick this one and where can Cork try and retain the possession. Cork's winning kickouts has come in the main from the down kickouts. This time they win their own. Pierce O'Neill, Paddy Kassan, Aidan Walsh. Well, Cork in the second half of their matches have brought on their big subs. They brought on the Nicholas Murphys and the Colm O'Neills and Derek Kavanagh to try and turn the game, and that may well be in the mind of the managers, I would imagine, as we head towards half-time. Meanwhile, Donnacha O'Connor, who scored from a free, has scored now from play. He wheeled around brilliantly that time and makes it 8 points to 5, and Cyril Kavanagh there, the Mexican fan, is delighted with that one. Not so pleased James McCartan, who saw his man there, his fullback Dan Gordon, allowed Donnacha O'Connor get too much room, and Donnacha O'Connor is now pumped up and full of confidence.
With that passivity you saw earlier from O'Connor, now has been replaced with a lovely piece of dynamism that time. That was a wonderful score by Donnacha O'Connor.
The game may be turning around. It was all down for a long time. And the question I was asking Conor Coonahan last week in the interview was, the mental baggage of having lost 2 finals. Is it there? 1 minute of added time as Cadogan goes back. Came on as a substitute last year in the football final. Miskell has swung around. Free kick to Cork. Down leading as we're into additional time. Here's Kieran Sheehan setting off. Youngest player in today's final, down towards Paul Kerrigan, trying to take on Damien Rafferty, succeeding, coming in from the angle, ball running away from him, and that's gone for a 45. Probably about as much as he could have done, because he had got into such an acute angle there. I don't think he had sufficient latitude to try and pull it back for Donnacha O'Connor. That was probably in his mind. Knew he couldn't beat the goalkeeper from such a tight angle, but here he is from the reverse angle here, and the keeper did well, put out his right hand and decided, let's see what happens from the 45.
He certainly did do very well, because that was a wonderful piece of play by I think both players, actually, by Paul Kerrigan in trying to get in along the end line, but disciplined tackling by Damien Rafferty. But credit also Brendan McVeigh for his positioning that time, because quite honestly the ball was going wide, but it hit off him and out for a 45.
Well, a down player, as you can see, requiring the attention this time of the physio Noel Rice. And it's Kevin McKernan from Burren being attended to by Rice. And Noel Rice, the physio, his wife Udell, and new baby Joseph watching this, I understand. Goalkeeper did really well that time, because that could have been a very dangerous situation had he just decided to palm it down, because Donnacha O'Connor would probably have pounced. This might be the last kick of the first half. Daniel Goulding drops it, and it's dropped into the hands of a down defender. Dan Gordon, as the referee, calls for the ball, blows for half-time. Well, Cork started well and had opportunities, didn't take them, but Down came back strongly and played all or nearly all of the good football in the first half. The Down fans will be happy. Paul Kerrigan trotting off at half-time here, didn't score. Cork came back with a couple of scores, but it took them a long time to get their first from play. Down will be the happier, but there are only 3 points between the teams as they come in, and the Down management team there with McCartan and his selectors considering what they'll do, because at half-time it's Down 8 points, Cork 5 points. Michael.
And thank you for the moment to Ger Canning and Martin Carney. Back here in our Croke Park studio, we have Joe Brawley, Colm O'Rourke and Pat Spillane. Colm, might get a quick comment from you before the break.
Well, it's been a very enjoyable half of football, and I think Down have played the better football. Cork have had plenty of possession, but they seem to be the same as they have been all year. They don't seem to know where they're going, a bit lacking in method. Down a much slicker team, and a bit strange the marking arrangements that Cork have, but a very, very good game. But Cork have come back into it and it's still up for grabs.
It started off in a great welter of excitement.
Yeah, well, Cork should have been a goal and a point up inside the first minute, which would have settled a team that are obviously a bit lacking in confidence. And they retreated into their shell a little bit, and Down just came out and expressed themselves and played some beautiful open football.
Yeah, OK, we're going to take a short break. Further reflection on that first half in just a few minutes. Now, also here on the Sunday game, there's a chance for you to win a fantastic prize, and we have details coming up a little bit later on.
With your passion, no one can stop you.
Celebrity Bannister returns for a third series, and this year it's tougher than ever. 8 new celebrities take on the challenge of managing an intermediate GAA football team from their home county. Who will rise, who will fall, and who will be crowned champion? The all-new series of Celebrity Bannister, tonight at 6:30 on RTE1.
Because of their dedication, we're dedicated to them. The Cadbury GAA Football Under-21 Championship.
To Arthur.
To Arthur. To Arthur. To Martha. To Martha. To farmers. To farmers. To Martians. Yeah.
Join the Arthur's Day celebration at 17:59 on the 23rd of September.
Experience GAA coverage in a class of its own. From the writers that define football. In Championship, your dedicated GAA magazine, only in Monday's Irish Examiner.
Thurles, 1884. An idea was born, and it grew, and proved irresistible. It took hold of people's hearts and helped all of us grasp one simple and enduring fact. When something really matters, it matters forever. Ulster Bank, proud sponsor of the GAA Football All-Ireland Championship.
Need a number nifty? Call 11850!
Yeah! Super value and the GAA Football All-Ireland Championship. Real local passion.
Back here at Croke Park, it's half-time between Down and Cork, and Down leading 8 points to 5 at the moment. Joe Brolly, Colin Rourke and Pat Spillane here in our studio. Pat, what did you think of that first half?
Enjoyable enough. I mean, most of the football was played by the team in the yellow jerseys. You know, their movement, their foot passing, their tackling. You know, it boils down to the thing that we were talking about before the game. Self-belief and self-doubt. Down are playing with self-belief, and once Cork missed those couple of chances, you could see that fear and lack of confidence permeate through their play. And you know, they were clueless and inept in that first half. They didn't have leadership. Their decision making was poor, wrong options. Their kicking, both foot passing, whatever like that. And there's no leader there. And you can talk about sentiment and say, geez, they deserve an All-Ireland. But you know, Michael, All-Irelands are earned. You've got to make it work. And they look like a team that are waiting for things to happen rather than making things happen.
Sure.
You're right, Pat, but I think the reason for that is because they're not that sure what their rules are. They're not that sure how to go about it. With Down, there's precision. You know, there's that confidence that comes from knowing what it is you're supposed to be trying to achieve. And so, you know, Down, when they're spearheading attacks, are really spearheading. I mean, an amazing statistic in the game. And I think what's happened has been entirely predictable. Cork have won 17 kickouts to Down 6. and they should be winning the game by 7 or 8 points. But in truth, they just look as though they're running through quicksand.
A nice example of the contrast column in it. A Cork attack that ended up in a down point.
Yeah, well, Cork have rampaged through the middle with the likes of Miskela has gone through, but the finished product has been dreadful. Like Alan O'Connor was through in the first minute, and you know, the worst thing about Cork is the wrong fellas are shooting. Like Miskela should be drawing a man and giving the ball to a forward. That's what the forwards are on the field. And then a brilliant foot pass down here along the wing. And, you know, Down are able to do this. They're crossfield passing. Paul McCutney, Mark Poland, all those fellas have been very good. And they're handing the ball off to the player who should be shooting. And it's a very simple looking game, whereas for Cork it's quite laboured.
A big contrast between the teams when you're looking at it from here is that Down's runs are always diagonal and cross field, pulling everybody out of position. We're looking down the field, I kid you not, the 3 Cork full forwards are standing. They are standing in position. You know, and I mean that's difficult enough when you're playing one-on-one football, but when you're playing against 12 men behind the ball, I mean the 2 scores that Cork have got from play are verging on the miraculous, magnificent points. You know?
Well, the other thing that didn't move in that first half pass was the goalposts, and Cork seemed to have a problem finding
Well, I mean,
them.
this is an argument I have all year. I mean, these games are still won by the teams who can get the more scores, and I don't know whether there's enough emphasis being put on shooting, but Alan O'Connor, first minute of the game, and shouldn't be shooting, but this shooting from the outside of the right foot. Now, you can make a justification for Alan, he's a midfielder. That was a bad miss by Paul Kerrigan, and again, that's an awful kick. He's unopposed. I mean, in senior inter-county championship football, that the team who have probably 50% possession get their first score from play after 31 minutes. But I would agree with Joe. They obviously had decided, right, we're going to move the ball fast today. So they had, but after that they hadn't made them, because as Joe pointed, there's no movement from the full forward line, and even when they get it, it's by accident. But then when they do get it, there's no one coming off the shoulder at pace. So they said we're going to move it, but somebody forgot to put in plan B.
But from the throw-in though, Colin O'Rourke, they moved that ball fast. They moved it through the down offence. They got chances. They got a goal chance. They could have had a couple of goals out of this.
There's no doubt about it. They're running through the centre of the down defence fairly easily, which, you know, should give them a certain amount of hope. And, you know, this was a fairly easy chance. Sheehan should have finished here, but like when you get the rebound, now Dan McCartan brings off a miraculous save.
So did the goalkeeper McVeigh.
Yeah, and he got it. Sheehan should have gone around him.
It has always been a failing, of this Cork team. Cork teams don't score goals. They've played 7 matches in this year's championship. They've got 4 goals, and they've been playing against some poor teams.
But do you not agree, Pat, that it's not so much the missing of the goal chance and the missing a couple of the chances. What it does is it sums up the lack of confidence that's in the ranks. You know, if that had been Down coming through there, Danny Hughes or Benny Kohler, the ball would have been the net, the crowd would have been up. As it is, it's been a huge downer for Cork.
By the way, Michael, we're not writing them off.
Oh no, I know that.
I am. You're not.
All right, well, Joe is, the rest aren't. We're going to take a break here in the programme. The second half of this year's All-Ireland football final coming up now, plus our big competition, because you could be a big cheese in the Big Apple in a few months' time.
It was love at first sight for us.
You were lucky I didn't hear your accent.
Ulster Bank, sponsors of the GAA Football Championship.
You selected your top 5. Now it's time to vote for who you think is Ireland's greatest ever person.
He showed bravery, he showed leadership. Whatever it took, he gave it.
Starting with Michael Collins. A new series, Ireland's Greatest, Monday at 9:35 on RTE1.
In 1873, Adolf Coors found the perfect place to brew ice-cold beer, but it was high up in the Rockies, so he set about building a railway. He loaded the trains with barrels of his beloved beer and packed them carefully with ice so they'd stay Rocky Mountain cold and refreshing. You see, when you put that much pride into what you do, you want the whole world to share it. Coors Light, delivering Rocky Mountain refreshment since 1873.
You can wait a lifetime for a chance like this. "32 counties. Only one country. Ireland versus Australia. The Irish Daily Mail International Rules Series."
William Moore, conditioning coach, talks about the last 15 minutes.
it's everything. It can define a player's career. The body needs to have the energy supplies in order to push on in those last 15 minutes. Lucas Aid Sport will provide the energy for exercise and the fluid for hydration. We at the Ulster Sports Academy are working with Lucas Aid Sport to educate athletes on the benefits of fluid for exercise. It's about winning.
Lucas Aid Sport. Last longer, finish stronger.
With your passion, no one can stop you.
It's a busy day here at Croke Park and a busy evening edition of the Sunday game tonight. Now, Des Cahill will be along with a studio audience to reflect on today's events and indeed the Football Championship of 2010. Now, in addition, we'll be visiting the All-Ireland Champions Victory Banquet and we'll be naming the man of the match from this year's final. And all that begins later tonight at 9:30. But right now here on the programme, it is competition time, because we have teamed up with Ulster Bank, the sponsor of the Senior Football Championship, to give you the chance to win a fantastic trip for you and a friend to experience the sights and the sounds of New York City, combined with the passion and the pride of the GAA Senior Football Championship. Now, this great prize includes return flights, 4 nights accommodation in a 4-star Manhattan hotel, that's close to all of the main attractions, and 2 tickets to see New York's first football championship game of the season next May. And to top it all off, we'll also give you $5,000 spending money so that you can experience the best of what New York City has to offer. For your chance to win the holiday and the cash, answer this. Which of these well-known GAA grounds is located in New York? Is it Gaelic Park, Semple Stadium or Croke Park? Now, if you think you know the answer, call 1515 717174 or text the word football followed by your answer and your name to 57111. Viewers in Northern Ireland can also text 57111 or you can call the number there on screen. Now, you must be over 18 to enter. The full details are on RTE Airtel page 195. The lines will close at midday tomorrow and the lucky winner will be announced during Sport at 7 on RTE Radio 1 later that evening, so tune in for that. But right now here on the programme, we're going to head downstairs to rejoin Marty Morrissey.
Thank you very much, Michael. Well, in any championship match, midfield is a crucial battle and no different in the All-Ireland Senior Football Final. I'm joined by 2 gentlemen, 2 stars in that area, Kieran Whelan and Dermot Earley, and they're just a little bit taller than myself. So, Kieran, let me start with you. What do you make of Down? Have you been impressed with the opening 35 minutes?
Yeah, they've been impressive all year. After a shaky start, they've settled into the game and they just look like they're more cohesive, have a structured plan, and I think ultimately their forward line has turned up. They're working well together compared to Cork, who just looked clueless going forward, and yeah, they've only scored 2 points in play, Cork, so Down look the stronger at the moment.
Dermot Earley, what do you think of Cork? They're very disappointing, aren't they?
Yeah, well, as Kieran said, they seem a bit clueless. You know, in the first few minutes they were moving the ball quickly, they were creating opportunities. I mean, they should have capitalised a bit more. But after that, they were slow and laboured in their build-up, allowing Down to get back, and Down made a couple of great tackles. It just doesn't seem to be going their way at the moment. I'd expect that you'd see, Nicholas Murphy or Colm O'Neill or Derek Kavanagh being introduced, because they need to up it and get something out of this second half.
That has been the game plan all along, and it has worked. Would you anticipate the same sort of tactical move?
They're only 3 points behind. You couldn't rule them out, and they have the strength and depth. They need to make changes because they're just not performing to the required level. And I think Conor Coonan will make changes in this half, maybe 1 or 2 at half time. Be interesting to see.
On a tactical strategy sense, Noel O'Leary and Marty Clark, that's a bit of a surprise, isn't it, lads?
It is, yeah. Well, people expected maybe Michael Shears or Cadigan to pick him up, and he's failed them a couple of times, and they've converted frees, But, ultimately, I think it will come down to the last 20 minutes to strength and depth, and if Cork make the necessary changes, they may still win ugly.
Dermot Earley, Cork or Down?
I'm going to go Cork, but they need to up it.
Kieran Whelan?
Sticking with Cork.
There you have it. That's the view from the sideline. We'll go back to Michael.
Thanks, Marty Morrissey. The Cork team back out, just waiting for Down for the moment. We've been talking about Cork not moving the ball, etc., and so forth, but the reality of it is, Joe Bradley, they've been under pressure as well, and Down have made sure of that.
Well, it's just, Down's game plan is putting them under pressure. And
Change the Cork team. Sorry, George, to interrupt you. That's Nicholas Murphy who's on for the second half. I don't know for who yet. Just have a quick troll around.
Well, not that they're particularly
not
that they're particularly struggling for midfield possession. I mean, they're really wiping Down out in that sector. But the problem is, we've seen this happening against Tyrone before, where the opposition's winning a huge amount of ball around the middle of the field, but not really able to do that much with it. And that's the problem at the moment. I mean, Cork have got 2 scores, but nothing has really been created. All all the creativity is coming from the down team because of the way they're playing.
But Michael, one of the problems that happens is when you decide on a plan and suddenly you're struggling with it, you revert to type, and that's what Cork did. After 5 minutes, playing well but not getting the scores, and suddenly they reverted to type, to playing the bad old football, the ponderous, slow football, and not knowing what to do.
But
So
it's also very questionable, their marking. Like, Paddy Cassan, Danny Hughes is the best player on the pitch there the first half.
Lost on him.
And he's lost.
He's not a man marker.
Noel O'Leary's lost on Martin Clark. All the best individual footballers were on the down team. Now, it's, you know, I thought they should have had Nicholas Murphy in earlier. I think they should have Colm O'Neill in quickly. Donnoch O'Connor had a brilliant point, but he hasn't been playing well. And put Sheehan in at full forward, where he's a bit of a goal threat. Cork have nothing to lose now by throwing in these players a bit earlier.
Cork's best football, Michael, was played in the last 10 or 15 minutes against Dublin when they're through caution to win, like I said. I think it is. They introduced Colm O'Neill. He was a target man, and they moved the ball quick. They moved the ball quick and long. Now Nicholas Murphy is there, but Colm O'Neill is the other piece of the jigsaw I think they require.
See, the other thing about this, Colin O'Rourke, that, you know, we've been talking about the way Cork have not quite delivered and so on in this first half, but they're only a couple of 3 points adrift this day. I'm sure they'll be inside the dressing room, Conor Coonan, saying, lads, what are we at? If we play a bit of football, we have a great chance here.
What does that mean? They're staring over the edge now, because an awful lot of these players won't be back here again. They're not going to be allowed to fail continuously. Somebody else will come in and drop a load at them. So, you know, they're playing for their future.
Okay, down, as you can see, back out on the pitch in front of an attendance of 81,604. That's some crowd. All ready to go for the second half. It's back to Ger Canning and Martin Carney.
Michael, in the middle of the field for Cork right now, it's Nicholas Murphy and Aidan Walsh. I think it should be pointed out that Nicholas Murphy has a back injury, and in all probability he would not be able to go a full 70 minutes. I think that's the feeling within the camp, and probably Nicholas's feelings as well. So he's in for the second half. 35 minutes to go to resolve the 2010 All-Ireland football final. It's advantage down by 3 points, and they have the possession immediately here. It's lost by Mark Poland, however. And there's an opportunity for Paul Kerrigan, starting at right half forward, to kick it in long, inside towards Donnoch O'Connor, and it's gone astray, and it's gone wide, and the first attack of the second half comes to naught. And there's an injury immediately in the middle of the park to one of the down players as we watch this again here. It's Peter Fitzpatrick, by the way, who's gone down with the injury. That's what happened to him.
Yeah, he was winded that time with a late tackle from Nicholas Murphy, but I'd say he'll be up in a couple of moments and ready to go again. Fitzpatrick has played very well when you consider that he's come in from for an iconic figure like Ambrose Rogers, and his feeling has been good, and just generally speaking, a very good young footballer.
Isn't it amazing, Martin, when you look at this final? 2 qualifiers in the final, first time ever. First final I can recall where the 2 captains aren't able to start. And the manager is down here now on the sideline, as you can see, Conor Coonan. It's a very good idea, I think, to be up there and get an overview earlier on, but I think he'll do his best work now down there. He needs to drive them on. He's a great manager, Conor, and he's trying to make incremental with this team. Semi-finalist in his first year, 08, finalist in 09, and you know what he's trying to achieve this afternoon. Down of other ideas, as Fitzpatrick is back on his feet again. Paddy Talley there went in to have a word, along with the physio. So this kick out by Brendan McVeigh, 31-year-old from Unriocht, lands in the hands of Benny Coulter. Showing a bit of vision now, trying to pick out Marty Clark. They combine so well and so productively. Lobbing it in here, dangerous moment. Back from McComiskey's shot, off the post it comes. Back down to Ray Carey. Great opportunity there for Down to get the first point of the second half. But instead, it's with Cork's Aidan Walsh. Down towards Pierce O'Neill. Needs to get into the match. Games seem to have passed him by in the opening 35 minutes. Kerrigan now again. Holding, waiting. Cross here towards Paddy Cassan. Down towards Donnoch O'Connor again. Couldn't hold it, couldn't take it. Another ball has gone aimlessly wide. So 2 completely unproductive Cork attacks. Meanwhile, Down themselves had a most interesting forward thrust at the other end, and Paul McComiskey very nearly got his 3rd point of the match when that ball was fed out to him by John Clark. He was misfortunate because it came down off the upright.
Yes, and again, everything came from the laser-like accuracy of Marty Clark, a wonderful crossfield ball.
Well, it took Cork until 32 minutes to get their first point from play. They're still only 3 points behind. They were the favourites in the eyes of many going in here, certainly the bookmakers. That's aimless by Paul Kerrigan. He's pointing out to some of the others that should have been making movement. Instead, it's Down who are making the moves. Danny Hughes lobbed down there once again towards the impish Paul McComiskey. And that time, it's a lovely, smooth delivery as McComiskey goes through the football and over the bar. Opening point of the second half for him and for Down. 9 points to 5, they lead here. But the end product of a beautiful pass down to Paul McComiskey. Brilliant work by the 22-year-old from Dundrum.
Well, that sums up the way Down are playing. Their forward play is outstanding. They're playing with great cohesion. And the off-the-ball movement by McComiskey and Hughes, two small men in stature, massive hearts, wonderful instincts. And again, the combination between the two of them that time was top class. And a third score, I think it is, for McComiskey.
John Miskell is okay. Down ahead by 4. Early stages of the second half. Great catch in the middle of the park, this time by Nicholas Murphy, the Carrigaline man. Taking his 5th All-Ireland final. Doesn't want to lose another. Up towards Donnacha O'Connor. On his right side this time. Oh, that's crafty ball in there. Sheehan's in there as well. And he goes down and he was fouled by the goalkeeper. It's going to be a free in from the 13-metre line. Good work by Kieran Sheehan. Came out here, went after it. Goalkeeper decided he wasn't going to get it and took down the number 10.
Well, dare I say it, is Kieran Sheehan not better suited to the full forward position or a position close to goals rather than playing out a wing forward? He has the bulk, he has the necessary ability to win ball, much greater than Donnacha O'Connor.
And as a result of that, they go point for point. Daniel Goulding with his 4th point of this match, first of the second half. Well, 3 of his scores have come from frees, and the one from play, of course, just before half-time. So as you were at the break, 3 between them. And Cork are preparing Graham Canty. He's taking off the tracksuit. He'll be in presently as Aidan Walsh rises for this one. He's fouled. They need Canty. They need their captain. Back out it comes again towards Pierce O'Neill. Free to Cork. Taken quickly. Out to Kassan. Looking up at the target, trying to go through, trying to knife his way in. Held onto by Kieran Sheehan, awkward angle. Recycling it back towards the left half back again. Not quite sure what that was meant to be. Might have been a pass, but it ended up being neither a shot nor a pass by Paddy Kassan. And it's time for Graham Canty to be introduced by his team manager Conor Coonahan. Canty coming in for his 49th championship match. And the player who's coming off is going to be Paddy Kassan.
Gamble by Cork. Again, if Canty has a problem with his hamstring, he'll find out very soon if it's fit enough for this kind of an encounter or not.
I thought originally he might play in the full back line and pick up John Clark, but he's gone out into the middle of the field. This is taken well here by Owen Cadigan. 3 points the margin in the All-Ireland final. Canty taking it, fouled. Free kick rapidly taken by Pa Kelly. Hit in there towards Kieran Sheehan, and Daniel Goulding goes chasing after it as well. Back out towards Nicholas Murphy. Another of the second half substitutes on for Paul Kerrigan. Trying to stand his ground, he's down. Fouled in the mind of the referee. Peter Fitzpatrick is arguing the point, but it was Kevin McKernan who caught him. And it's going to be a free in.
I think it was a very soft free actually, because I think that Paul Kerrigan slipped in the process of going past his man that time. So this is an easy enough, well, not an easy opportunity, but it's a free in that I think was as a result of a soft free.
The referee having words with Peter Fitzpatrick. I don't think the incident involved merited a card unless something was said immediately after that. And the referee decides to take decisive action, and that's the nature of the action, a yellow card. So it's 1 per team. Paul Kerrigan got 1 in the first half. So Cork have a free kick. This is 30 metres out from the target, and not a great deal of wind around right now. It's quite still, cloudy overhead, but dry anyway. Daniel Goulding to take it. 4 points already in the All-Ireland final. This to narrow the gap to 2 points. Can he make it? He can. His fifth. 9 points to 7. Trying to rally his troops now. Peter Fitzpatrick here. Caught. Well, he didn't. It was Kevin McKernan who did the catching originally. That's where I thought the foul was. It was Peter Fitzpatrick who came in afterwards. Maybe he mouthed something to the referee.
Well, it's a very harsh booking as far as I can see. I don't think Fitzpatrick deserved to be booked in that case, nor do I think Kerrigan deserved a free in the first place, because I believe he slipped initially.
Now it's Dan Gordon's turn to be spoken to. Very important that Down retain their composure here now. They're seeing their lead whittled away, but there's a long game still to be played. 27 minutes or so, and there's a yellow card for Dan Gordon. To stay composed. They've still got the lead. They've played good football so far.
Yes, and they've shown a better awareness of what's required so far as well. And again, discipline has been critical up to now, so it's up to them just to keep a cool head.
This one is fisted down and taken by Nicholas Murphy. Well, he is ready for the battle. Doesn't want to lose another All-Ireland, but he held on to that one too long. And Down have got themselves a free kick, which is going to be taken by Mark Poland. Looking for Marty Clark. Gets there ahead of Noel O'Leary. O'Leary unable to get a challenge, unable to get near him. Strange marking, that one. Runs into Canty. Drops to Mark Poland. Slips away there from Nicholas Murphy. Poland jinking back, cutting inside. Having a go. It's got direction. It's got accuracy. It's a great score. Mark Poland's first point in the All-Ireland final. Blows it out to a 3-point advantage for Down once again. Their fans are very, very happy with themselves. 45 minutes are gone, and it's 10-7.
Well, that's a lovely piece of individual skill by Mark Poland that time. A small, little, darting player, guy with great imagination, but the flair and the skill that time, they've got him past players, and awareness just putting the ball over the bar. That's a great score, probably the score of the game.
John Clark comes off, Conor McGinn goes on. Coming on for his 10th championship match. Pressure back on the Cork backs in the unfamiliar white. Alan Quirk required. Pressurised by Benny Coulter. Kicks it out cagily, out as far as Owen Cadigan. Young man from Douglas brushes aside McGinn's challenge initially. Shouldered then by Poland. Canty, half blocked. Should be Dan McCartan's. Doesn't get to it. Goulding got there first. Held onto by Sheehan, back towards Pierce O'Neill. Loses possession, it's away with Peter Fitzpatrick once again for Down. And Down tried to lay siege on the Cork goal. Out came Michael Shields. Fisting it forward, on as far as Kieran Sheehan. It's a different match. It's much more intense all of a sudden. In as far as Donnacha O'Connor. Kicking, he scored 2, he's now scored 3. It's 10-8. Great point.
Great point, but notice the ball was delivered quickly that time. Lovely link up and O'Connor. And O'Connor that time showed for the ball with purpose and kicked with conviction. That's more like it from a Cork point of view. Forget about the lateral play, forget about the short passing, get the ball in quickly.
Into the 12th minute of the second half. Second half scores so far 3 points to 2 in favour of Cork. But still, a 2-point game in the overall context. Pa Kelly, young teacher, 66 possession for Cork in the second half, and we've only played 12 minutes of that half. Graham Canty, his presence there is already having a major beneficial effect. Ray Carey, here as far as Kieran Sheehan, jinking away past Damien Rafferty, cautiously playing it in towards Goulding. 2 young players, same club, Éire Óg in Ovens. Awkward angle, what a score! Daniel Goulding's got his 6th point. It's a 1-point game. It's Down 10, Cork 9.
Yeah, again, quick ball, lovely showing that time by Goulding under a lot of pressure from a difficult angle, shoots a great point, but you can see the confidence starting to course into the Cork team. The crowd are getting behind them. They've started to wake up over 40 minutes into the game.
It might sound like a silly question, Martin, but why didn't they try to do this in the first half?
Well, I think they were completely chained with nerves. They seemed to be full of basically too many pookies.
What a great take that time by Aidan Walsh. He's lost it to McGinn. Big question now being asked of Down. So confident themselves in the opening 35 minutes. They need Danny Hughes to reinforce the message, I think, that they're in this game with a big chance of taking the Sam Maguire Cup. Marty Clark kicks it away, but only as far as Graham Canty, who goes to ground. Back up on his feet immediately. Noel O'Leary fisting it forward to Pierce O'Neill. McGinn goes after him, can't catch him. Cleverly in as far as Donegal O'Connor. O'Neill's available, but he slips it back inside towards Kerrigan. Came off a down defender off Conor Garvey, and the umpire was ready to give a 45, but the referee, David Coldrick from Meath, immediately behind it, said no, it went off the Cork man, and he has decided, I think correctly, that is going to be a kick out of 45. Good decision by the referee.
Great refereeing, good overruling of this umpire. Up with the game, able to see exactly what happened. Definitely come off Paul Kerrigan's leg.
Well, it's tense. Point in it. McVeigh's kick. Gathered in brilliantly by Peter Fitzpatrick. Down again, win their own kick out. Towards Marty Clark, and he's fouled this time by Noel O'Leary. Free kick, down fans, happy to see it go their way. Cork booing. McComiskey trying to slip inside. Back out towards Benny Coulter. 3 Cork backs there, but he still gets in. Benny Coulter. Now he's running into a whole phalanx of Cork backs, and Cork hold possession. Reaches Owen Cadigan. Oh, Canty slipped on the greasy surface. Out came Miskela. Noel O'Leary takes it, about to be challenged by Marty Clark, but unfairly you can't challenge from behind like that, and the referee awards the free kick to Cork, and in fact brings the ball forward 13 metres. Some battle now, 50 minutes gone, 20 minutes more to enjoy, and it's very much there for the winning. Kieran Sheehan, that's a lovely looking kick, and it's gone sailing over the bar. And the teams are level for the 3rd time. Kieran Sheehan, this prodigious talent, 19 years of age, brilliantly done.
Well, the efficiency, the accuracy and the movement that were absent in the first half is back with Cork. It's there now with Cork. They're very good in front of the goal. Just watch this time, Coulter going through, just simply crowded out by the good Cork defending. Coulter so far hasn't gone into the game to the extent that I would like to see from a Down point of view.
But Martin, that's what Down were doing to Cork in the first 35 minutes. Now it seems to be Cork's turn. But there's a lot of football to be played. Canty, back as far as Noel O'Leary. Exhilarating All-Ireland final. Quite absorbing. Both teams playing their part right now. The referee awarding the free kick to Down.
Yeah, Ray Carey wanted all day to get rid of the ball that time. He had the opportunity to let it go to his forwards, but great defending once again, a great and pressurising by the Down forwards.
With a great second half of the minor match as well. Tyrone did well initially, were reeled in by Cork, but Tyrone prevailed by a point. Nothing in it here in the senior final. Callum King finding Poland. Kerrigan back to challenge, getting in his hand. Poland holds. That's great vision. That's brilliant play. Out as far as Kevin McKernan to try and slip it over the bar. His first of the day, but he's the centre half back, and he's put Down back in front once again by 11 points to 10. But it was the remarkable pass by Poland to pick him out there, and McKernan with a flawless finish. Brilliant football.
Yeah, just watch the Cork tackling. It's clinical, it's relentless, but Poland still has the composure to find McKernan, and that's a wonderful score for Down.
At the other end, Pa Kelly linking up there with a colleague, with Ray Carey. Up to Donegal O'Connor, trying to find a colleague. Now Down have found renewed heart and renewed energy. And they've got possession again, and Dan McCartan lets it off. Gordon, back to McCartan. McGinn, again it's the substitute Conor McGinn, looking for the run here of Paul McComiskey, and he didn't take it as he wanted to. He got an unkind bounce and it's a line ball to Cork, which is going to be taken by Owen Cadigan into Nicholas Murphy. Well, part of the team beaten in 93 by Derry, by Meath in 99. The Kerry defeats then. Nicholas Murphy doesn't want another. At the other end, Kieran Sheehan loses the possession. And back is McKernan, but in some difficulty, needs his goalkeeper McVeigh. Saying to McKernan, you take it. Oh, down Orenchi back there, but just showing sufficient composure to get it out to Declan Rooney. And the 26-year-old from Burren, slotting it down there towards Marty Clark. 3 players around him, and the referee says free kick. It's going Down's way. Clark to take it. They're in a hurry. Midway through the second half. Callum King. Nice turn by Danny Hughes. Hughes holding 45 metres out. Graham Canty trying to get in a challenge, and he did enough to put Hughes off. And Cork can counter-attack. They're going to make a change in a minute as Paul Kelly carries it on. Way up there towards Donnacha O'Connor. Has possession, gets away from Dan Gordon. He's fouled and it's a free in. And Cork are considering bringing in Colm O'Neill in the next couple of moments.
That was a beautifully flighted pass that time into O'Connor, showing out well this half and more often than he was in the first half, and draws the foul of Dan Gordon. That's an easy enough opportunity now for Cork to come level.
Well, Donnacha O'Connor, scorer of 1-5 against Dublin in the semi-final, and those scores highly instrumental in securing Cork's victory that day. From a very central position on a calm afternoon, amid great excitement, he puts it over the bar. His 4th, 2 from play, 2 from frees, and they level again. 11 points apiece. So on comes Colm O'Neill, goal scorer in the 2009 final, going off number 11, Pearse O'Neill. And Down are also making a change, and coming on for them will be Ronan Murtagh, and going off Paul McComiskey.
Yeah, that surprised me.
Very surprising.
Very surprising. I thought he's been very lively, very effective. 3 points to his name, I think, but very effective anytime he got the ball.
Kerrigan has it. Going to cut inside here. Dangerous. Great score. Paul Kerrigan's first. Well, he was determined. He persisted, showed drive and verve, and went right through the heart of the Down defence here. Then showed the composure onto the left, and he slotted it over to edge Cork into the lead once again. 57 minutes are gone.
Great score from Kerrigan indeed, and again Cork have faced up to the limitations in this half, thrown away the shackles and are playing much better.
Interesting that they've brought on those 3 substitutes as well to try and turn the game. Peter Fitzpatrick trying to turn it Down's way. They've gone into arrears. Oh, an awkward slip there for Ronan Murtagh. It's out as far as Walsh, the midfielder. Covers an awful lot of ground. First season still in the championship. Niskala. Now Graham Canty. It's a probing ball up towards O'Neill. He does well against Damien Rafferty onto the right. It hits the post, comes back down. Dan Gordon is shouldered out over the end line. That's got to be a 45, and not much doubt about this one.
Yeah, there's no doubt about that one. The two lads, maybe like two salmon, getting tangled up in the net there at the moment. But a lovely pass again that time. I think it was from Gary Canty.
Well, Down are getting concerned about the back line because they're about to bring in Brendan McCardle, who started the championship as a fullback, played in the league at fullback, and he's going to come on in place of Damien Rafferty. So there's third substitution, both sides with 2 possible subs still to bring on as Daniel Goulding kicks it over. Well, he was using an iPod in the build-up to the Down game to try and replicate the noise that he was getting or going to get in Croke Park to settle himself down, taking the frees in practice. It worked, and it's working again today.
Yeah, that contrasts completely to the 45 he took on the stroke of half-time that fell short, indicated a lack of conviction. That one went truly all the way.
Cork by 2. Here's Paul Kerrigan again, taking off past Kevin McKernan. Well blocked by McKernan, but that's going to be another 45 going off the Down centre half-back. And this game seems to be turning in Cork's direction, but there's still a fair bit of time to play. Over 12 minutes still to go. He's down on the sideline now, hoping to win an All-Ireland as manager, just as he did as a player back in 89 against Mayo and in 90 against Meath. Daniel Goulding is 5 from 5 from frees so far. He got that last 45, his 7th score of the match. So this to try and give Cork a little bit more of a lead. It's dropping in and it's dropping over. 2 in a row, 45 for Daniel Goulding, and it's Cork 14, down 11. Let's go to the sideline. Marty Morrissey.
Just an interesting scenario down the sideline. There seemed to be confusion about the last substitution and a slight disagreement within the Down management team about Benny McArdle coming on for Damien Rafferty. James McCarthy didn't seem well pleased.
Oh, that's interesting. Well, we'd have been querying the other one with Paul McComiskey being taken off in place of Ronan Murty, even though Murty's a very, very good player. There were a lot of people in Down who thought he should have started. Here's Poland again. That's taken beautifully by Danny Hughes. They need more from him. Miskela in there to try and close the gap. 3 between them. Conor McGinn laying it back to Peter Fitzpatrick. Well, he's ambitiously going for it. Brilliant if it makes it, but horrible if he puts it wide, and he's missed the opportunity. And there were players inside who were looking at him and saying, why didn't you give us a chance? Play the ball into us decently.
Well, I think it's a very good point, because you have to get the ball to the players who can finish in situations like that. It's very much a Hail Mary shot from an impossible position. That might work once in 10, but they need to play the percentages at the moment, work it in and try and get their scores.
Just look how Cork have won all these kickouts. They've won another one here by going short. Michael Shields. Well, Cork in the position now where they are leading by 3 points. As you can see, 10 minutes to go. 20 years since Cork won an All-Ireland. 16 since Down were the champions. Who's going to win it? It's advantage Cork. Paul Kerrigan. It's dropping to the right this time. Goulding doing his best. One back by Dan McCartan, brother of the manager, of course, James. Fitzpatrick, back again it comes. Knocked out of defence down towards Benny Coulter. Hasn't scored in the All-Ireland final, but he's prompted inside towards Clark, whose 3 points have come from frees. Waiting and holding. Conor McGinn. Oh, he slipped at the most inopportune moment. Very misfortunate as Canty goes down. And that's going to be a free out to Cork.
I think Canty's introduction has had the effect of settling Cork, giving them added confidence of just making them helping them do the right direction. He may not be in the game that much. He's given some good passes, but I think his presence on the field has been immense and it came at the right time.
You have to say, Martin, full credit to the management team there of Conor Coonahan, Gerald Sullivan, Terry O'Neill, Jim Nolan and Patrick Healy, because had they started with him and he got off injured after 15 to 20 minutes, it would have been a downer for the rest of the players, I think. Micheál O'Murray-Hertig here, my colleague. I wish him the very, very best. He's been a wonderful colleague over the years that I've known him, one of my best friends in the broadcasting game. His last All-Ireland final today, barring a replay. Free to Cork. Down's last score was in the 10th minute of or 10 minutes ago rather. They need a score. They're not out of it just yet. Graham Canty. And Cork's fans, I think, urging them now not to start playing around with it back there. Noel O'Leary. Here's Ray Carey. Oh, it's cut out well by Benny Coulter. And Coulter gets away. Now can he give the leadership yet to preserve Down's wonderful record of never losing an All-Ireland final? They've a chance here. Peter Fitzpatrick can kick a point, and he's done so. In spite of the attempted block there of Michael Shields, Fitzpatrick's first point coming in the 64th minute. There's still time. It's just a 2-point game. Cork 14, Down 12.
I think it's appropriate punishment for the messing Cork were doing there at the moment. They gave the ball to Benny Coulter. He rode 2 tackles in outstanding manner. Fitzpatrick, again for a young lad, showed great leadership in coming forward that time, shot a fine point.
Now Benny's getting booked here, and I'm not sure. Have you any idea?
No, I didn't see it. In fact, I thought it was maybe some of the Cork players that might have been booked that time for over-robust tackles on him.
Or for taking too much out of the ball. Could we introduce that rule?
There's enough of them in there.
It's got to be a kick out for Cork as a result of all of that. Down's Aidan Brannigan's coming out for Callum King.
Well, as I said, that indecisive play that Cork went on with a couple of moments ago could be fatal. There's still a long time left. There's probably, with added time on, there's about 7 or 8 minutes left. And for Cork to start playing down or trying to hope that they'll kind of, play the game down and hold on to their lead, it could be fatal.
This game is far from won and lost. Pa Kelly can't get to it. It's fisted back again here. And the industrious Ray Carey back. Missed last year's final because of an injury. Owen Cadigan, hounded there by Danny Hughes, fouled, free to Cork. Use of possession now, absolutely vital. No more Hail Mary kicks, and that really is a wasted use of that vital possession. And Down have it back again now, and it's Dan McCartan, the 27-year-old dentist, getting it out here. Not a good ball to Declan Rooney, because he's given Cork a chance to win it back, and then there was a trip, and it's going to be a Down free kick. Indecision, indiscipline on occasions, nervousness as well. The two teams are so close to that prize of taking home Sam Maguire. Another change being made. Ronan Sexton's coming on now. I think I saw Ronan Sexton going on there. Certainly Conor Laverty's gone on. Maybe it's Conor Laverty's gone on. It is. And going off, Mark Poland. Well, he had a very, very good match, I thought.
Yeah, and I think Nicholas Murphy has gone off also, and Derek Cavan has come in.
So they're doing everything they can, the managers, to try and win this game for their team. As Pa Kelly from Ballincolly kicks it up there towards Donegal O'Connor, racing after it. Well, he's going for the point. If he makes it, it's an amazing point. It's a wonderful point. Well, he took on the responsibility. Such a contrast between the Donegal O'Connor in the early stages of this match, when he was indecisive, looked unsure of himself. He wouldn't have attempted anything like this. Have a look at this again. Very near to the end line, onto the right boot, a player approaching him to try and block it, and he got it right between those two tall posts. 15-12. Down come back. Again, it's Fitzpatrick. Neat right here. Here comes Ronan Murtagh, and the substitute slots it over the bar. His first point, so we're back to a 2-point game again, and 3.5 minutes of the 70 still to be played, and I'm sure there'll be the usual 2 minutes of additional time. So I think we're looking at about another 5 or 6 minutes.
Great play once again by Peter Fitzpatrick, driving forward on the blind side, getting away from his marker, taking the responsibility this time of letting it off to somebody else, and Ronan Murtagh fires a good score.
Quirk's kick right down through the centre, challenged there by Declan Rooney, but it comes back to a Cork man, to Aidan Walsh, who slips it in here, and there's still an opportunity. O'Connor, oh, well blocked, and it somehow is scrambled out. We had Colm O'Neill with the opportunity. It's gone for a 45, but that was an opportunity for Colm O'Neill to have put it in past the goalkeeper, as it was fed over by Kieran Sheehan. Next it was Donegal O'Connor, and then the goalkeeper gets down and blocks well from Colm O'Neill. and eventually scrambled out somehow.
It should have been a penalty, I think. He touched the ball in the small rectangle. That should have been a penalty.
Look at it again. You're right.
Yep.
Absolutely. That should have been. The defender going down on it there, but no penalty given. 45 instead. Daniel Goulding's going to take it. He's converted 2 of his 45s in the second half. This to try and push it out to a 3-point advantage again. And again, the connection is perfect. Wonderful technique. And that's his 9th point of this All-Ireland final. Cork ahead by 16 points to 13. We're into the 69th minute. There's a down player on the ground, Conor Garvey. Picks himself up now as the ball is kicked out. Dan Gordon's got it to the middle of the field, but it's Aidan Walsh who collects. Plays it forward towards Derek Kavanagh. Gordon back. I think we said 2 minutes of added time, or is it 3 minutes of added time? 2, correction. Marty Clark. Big one in. Nicely taken. Coulter. Lovely point. Oh, it's a nervous, edgy finish here in a brilliant match. 16 points to 14. Benny Coulter knocking it over, and the tension is palpable.
I need more of that. Coulter is 1-on-1 at the moment with Michael Shields. That ball needs to go in quickly to him. Stop the play outfield from a down point of view, stop that short passing and all of that, and get it in, because Coulter is lethal in the air and a wonderful finisher.
Players being attended to out the field. Derek Kavanagh is one of them. And the referee having consulted with his umpires. The doctor there just attending to Derek Kavanagh. And this, once again, is what happened here. A hefty shoulder. Down he went. And the player who's coming in to replace him is Fintan Gould, 5th sub for Cork.
Well, it was a fair ball to go for. Just a straightforward collision. Both players trying to challenge for the ball.
And it's Down who take the possession from the kick out. And once again, it's McGinn. Gordon, back towards Peter Fitzpatrick. Well blocked by Aidan Walsh, playing his heart out in the middle of the field. Brannigan now. Conor McGinn once more. Down trying everything they know as we head into the 2 minutes of additional time, and a half a minute of that's already gone. But a Down goal can win this All-Ireland for them. She knows that much. You can be certain that Marty Clark does as well. He's checked with the linesman over there just to see how much is left, how much time. Just over 1 minute and 15. Kicked in. Fisted over the bar. It's a 1-point game. You wouldn't bet against a draw. Danny Hughes, his 3rd point, first of the second half, and it's 16 points to 15. From that line ball by Marty Clark, he got up highest, strongest, with determination, and fisted it over. And James McCartan's team's hopes live on.
That's a great score from Hughes. Typifies display all day, full of heart, full of conviction. Beautiful score. Anybody's game still.
What a day's football we've had at Croke Park, and here on the Sunday game live. The minor was great. Senior game is another great game. Fintan Gould taking it down here, losing it, but the referee blows his whistle and gives the free for that foul against him. So it's going to be a free for Conor Coonahan's team. We've got about 20 seconds of the additional time still to play. Cork by just a point, 16-15, and they have the possession. Goulding, holding, kicking, little block on it. Keeper comes, and McVeigh comes out. His challenge is fouled. It's going to be a free to Down. They want to get the ball out. We've played the 2 minutes of additional time. Cork haven't won an All-Ireland for 20 years. Down trying to deny them. Down looking for possession. Is there another attack for them? Conor McGinn running into challenges. Conor McGinn trying to slip away from those challenges, and won back by Daniel Goulding. Goulding who scored 9 points in this All-Ireland final. He's fouled by Kevin McKernan, and that could be enough to seal victory for the men from the south. Ger O'Sullivan, one of the selectors, is out there to give a little bit of advice to the 24-year-old from Éire Óg, Cork's leading scorer in this year's championship, with 1 goal and 43 points in all. Both teams playing in their 8th matches. Only seconds to go. Has Conor Counihan achieved as a manager what he achieved as a player? Cork, beaten in 2 of the last 3 All-Ireland finals, are tantalisingly close to crossing the line and taking the victory. Daniel Goulding to kick this. It's moving, travelling, going left. They wait for a whistle. There it is, and it's all over. And Cork are the All-Ireland football champions for 2010. Celebrations all around. They were behind by 3 points at half-time, but they showed character and resolve. They dipped deep into their reserves. They brought on the strong men like their captain Graham Canty, Nicholas Murphy, Derek Kavanagh and others. And Cork, well, it's a victory at last for the men from the south. Conor Counihan can take the applause after the agony and the despair of losing 2 finals to Kerry. They eventually deliver a winning performance as Down's unbeaten record in finals is gone. Cork's character, their quality and their sheer determination ultimately proving decisive. And Conor Counihan's got to talk with Marty Morrissey.
Class Graham, may I ask you to stay off the pitch on this historic day for both Cork and Down. We're going to be joined on the big screen, live on RT television on the Sunday game, by the winning All-Ireland manager, Conor Counihan. Conor, put into words the way you feel, having lost 2 of the last 3 All-Irelands.
I suppose it says an awful lot about this team. There was an awful lot said about them, but they showed great courage and conviction over the years, and now they've got the reward. And I do hope other counties, the likes of Down and that, will take heart and know that failure is only the fuel for success. A great day to be a rebel!
Conor, you've always emphasised, Conor, that it was the squad, it was the 30 players. It proved it yet again today.
Yeah, absolutely. Every guy on the bench, you know, we fellas like Lynchy there didn't get a run today. Those guys have made it for the other guys. Fantastic.
Congratulations, Conor Counihan. Daniel Goulding scoring 9 points in the All-Ireland final 2010. What does it mean on behalf of the players to win the All-Ireland and bring home Sam?
It's unbelievable. I can't explain. We've been down for 3 years. Not good enough, and finally today we prove we're good enough. And it's just a tribute to all those fellas there they have to have.
What was said at half-time, because up to the end of the first half, you weren't playing great, but my God, you got it together in the second.
I suppose it was just work a small bit harder and calm down a bit. We were probably a bit jittery, but thankfully we knocked it down to it. And we knew we could play football. In fairness, Down they tried their best, but just on the day it was unreal.
From here on, this Cork team will be viewed as All-Ireland champions. I'm sure it's going to be a wild week on the banks of the Lee and in Éire Óg and ovens.
That's the plan anyway. I'll enjoy man.
Well done, Daniel Goulding.
Yes, a very delirious Daniel Goulding. So, the final score in this 2010 All-Ireland football final. Cork 16 points, Down 15 points.
Thank you to Gerard Canning and to Martin Carney, and those are the faces of the vanquished Down players, but they put in a gallant summer and a gallant effort here today, and no doubt they will be back. But it's Cork's day here, fantastic scenes here at Croke Park, all around the field, and you know, you can say what you like about not allowing the players on the field and all that kind of stuff, but here we can see the Cork players enjoying the celebrations, able to go around to their supporters and the handshakes with the Down players, and that's nice to see as well. Joe Bradley, Colin Burke and Pat Spillane here with me in studio. Pat, as a Kerry man, I have no doubt you would like to congratulate your neighbours down there.
I would indeed, Michael. I've been teaching in Cork for the last 32 years. I know a lot of these fellas well. Yes. And I know the great work that they're doing for Gaelic football in West Cork.
One of the lads in the team you taught.
Alan O'Connor I taught. And I'm absolutely delighted. I'm delighted for the Cork management who came in, probably justifiably for a lot of criticism. Their key decisions today, putting Michael Shields on Coulter, putting Noel O'Leary on Marty Clark, worked well. We talked at the start of the game I said Cork could win. Why would they? Because they tick boxes like physicality, experience. I said what Cork needed today to win the game was to move the ball quick and long and direct into that full forward line. The full forwards from Cork contributed 14 points. And can I also say, do you know, I mean, people who've never All-Ireland medals and they said, you deserve an All-Ireland medal. Well, I can say this, and can I just congratulate the likes of Graham Canty, the likes of Nicholas Murphy, the likes of Anthony Lynch, who've soldiered for years. But these are lads who've learned from experience, and they took that experience on board today, particularly in the second half.
They did, and they're about to receive the Sam Maguire from the Cork man.
Ar céad dul síos go bhfuil mo bhuíochas a Horton Gairan ar an cléthe Starbrá Sportóla bhí gwingin jog. Ladies and gentlemen, could we happily congratulate Cork and Down for a wonderful, wonderful game of football. Could I on this occasion thank our wonderful sponsors, Ulster Bank, Super Value and Vodafone for their immense contribution to the promotion of our games. I know the mountain of born men will be bitterly disappointed. You've had a wonderful campaign. You should be very proud of your contribution to our Ireland champions, and I have no doubt it won't be long before you're back again. Well done, Down. But undoubtedly today belongs to the Rebels. I heartily congratulate Cork on the wonderful performance. They would say it's due, but you have to earn what's due, and they earned it today. Now it gives me great pleasure to bring Sam to be carried home by the knee to outstanding captain, Graham Canty.
Christy Cooney hands over the Sam Maguire Cup to Graham Canty, Cork All-Ireland champions for the 7th time ever. What an ovation, what an afternoon for them, and they will be down at the Nemo Rangers ground in Cork on Wednesday playing against Nemo in the Gold Challenge, which deserves support. Noel O'Leary and all the rest will be bringing the Sam Maguire Cup first of all to Pana, and it'll be there tomorrow evening, you may be sure.
I'm honoured and delighted to accept this cup on behalf of this fine bunch of players. We suffered disappointment, heartache and a few more things along the last couple of years, but we showed true character and fair play to them to come back and try and win it here again today. I have to stop myself and first of all congratulate a very, very balanced Down team. They're outstanding today. They played football from the first minute to the 73rd or 4th minute. And never did they say die. They're an outstanding team and they have an outstanding future. I'd like to just offer 3 cheers for the Down team today. Hip hip! Hip hip! Hip hip! I'd like to start off with my thank yous. It takes an awful lot of time, an awful lot of work to prepare us. First of all, I suppose we have our clubs at home. That's all where we came from. For the last 3 or 4 or 5 years, we've had management and backroom staff who've been second to none. We have to start off with our selectors, Kerry O'Neill, Pat O'Healy, Jim Nolan and John O'Sullivan. But that's our guiding light, our general and our chief is the one and only Conor Cunningham. What that man and his family have done over the last 3 years is unreal. No stone is left unturned. He's never gone, and he's always back again. I'd like to thank our sponsors, O2, led by Catherine Tierney and our team. Our county board, they've been outstanding the last number of years, doing everything for this team that we wanted. I also have to congratulate our backroom team, starting with our medical team, led by Dr. Con and Conor Lane. Outstanding stuff, lads. We have 2 masseurs. We have Mick Carey and we have Frank Hogan. The 2 men, they're like 2 extra selectors to us. Unreal stuff, lads. And lads, the fans. You stuck around, it's raining, you never gave up on us. We've come to the final hurdle a couple of times. We've come to the final hurdle a couple of times and we've faltered. But but you've always stuck with us, especially our family, our wives, our partners. You're always there for us. Win, lose and draw, you're always there, and especially acknowledgement for you. Lads, I think I've thanked everyone. If I've forgotten anyone, I apologise. And I'd like to see everyone back in Cork tomorrow night. Lads, we won that, I forgot. Our logistics man, Mick Compton. Lads, you see that? The players all cheer. He's like a second forward to every one of us. He's unreal. He does everything for the team. Special round of applause for Mick. Thanks very much, lads. You see you back in Cork tomorrow night.
So the Sal Maguire Cup is heading back down to Cork. Well, they've had heartbreak years. We know about 07, about 09, where they lost those two finals. But they've come good today. This has been a project which has been in the making for a number of years for all of these players. They've come good. They are the 2010 All-Ireland football champions.
Well, Sam Maguire was a Cork man himself, of course, from Dunmanway, and I have no doubt that the Cup is going to make a visit down there over the next couple of days or weeks. The rain is teeming down here, as you can see at Croke Park, but none of our players or their fans are going to feel that right now. It's a good feeling to be the All-Ireland champions. Conor O'Rourke, I'm sure you want to add your congratulations to Cork and the performance that they put in the second half.
Absolutely, the gun was put to the Cork players' head. They were 4 points behind at one stage of the second half. I'm delighted, a bit like Pat, for the likes of Graham Canty and Nicholas Murphy and Anthony Lynch and Derek. Like, they've been proper warriors for Cork over a 10-year period.
And as you said at half-time, you may not be seeing some of them again.
Yes, and they can drift off into the sunset now. They have their All-Ireland and richly deserved it. I'm delighted for them as individual and as player, and for Conor Coonahan, a proper football man as well as manager, modest, unassuming sort of fella. It's nice to see him getting a reward. But I said before the game, Cork needed heroes, and in fairness, they had the heroes today. Daniel Goulding was a hero, and Donnacha O'Connor, who I said at half time maybe should even be taken off, was brilliant in the second half. And Kieran Sheehan and men like that. And when Canty came on, it must have been a risk, but he brought a bit of composure to the Cork team. So, you know, the honours go where they deserve, but Down contributed richly to a fabulous sporting occasion and a great football contest.
They were transformed in the second half, and in fact, you know, eventually the sheer weight of possession in the second half they started to play. I thought they played excellently in the second half. It's the best half of football that they played.
You were writing them off at half time.
Well, that was a bit of a mischief in that.
Yeah,
you know.
I know that, yes, but in
he was writing them off.
I can kind of see why you were, because tactically they were all over the place. But as Colm said, it needed heroes, and they had them.
Well, I think that, you know, they totally outplayed Down in the second half, and for a 12-minute spell when they outscored Down 7-1. I mean, they moved the ball long. They did all the things that we thought that they weren't going to do.
And they did.
And in fairness to them, you know, they do. You don't always get what you deserve, but they richly deserved that today. It was a great victory, and it'll bring great joy to them because they've had such terrible.
Croke Park here, a proud Cork woman, and obviously she's delighted.
No, that's her nephew.
Noel O'Leary.
Noel O'Leary's her nephew.
And it's great to see Noel getting a medal. In fairness, you know, we have put a few barbs into Noel at different times over the last few years. But one thing about him, you always get 100%, a completely wholehearted effort. At times today, I actually thought he was unfairly treated with some of the tackles on Marty Clark, but he stuck at it. And you know, now he can look back in an All-Ireland.
I think we should make the point as well about Conor Coonahan. It's been an incredible fortnight for Conor, because he's been manager of the Cork team through a period when he lost his brother unfortunately last week, Pat, and so that's obviously been a difficult time.
It was indeed, and last year Pat O'Healy, another selector, lost his brother through tragic. Look, these are, I mean, that matches pale into significance when you talk about deaths and bereavements. But look, today was a day for leaders. I said in the last 15 minutes against Dublin, I saw signs that there was leadership and there was composure, and they had that in abundance in the second half. They had the experience, they've learned from the failures, and they had a subs bench that was much stronger to come on, and like I said, richly deserved.
Because the thing about this, Colm O'Rourke, it's not that Down rolled over or anything in the second half.
No.
Cork made the comeback, they brought the game back to level. Down twice brought the game back to them again.
Absolutely, but the sheer weight of possession determined the outcome of the game. I think that the kickouts were won by Cork by something like 3-1.
Yeah.
A total domination in the middle third of the pitch. So despite the fact that you had Mark Poland sniping it on point and Daniel Hughes, who was marvellous all through, the weight of possession actually told.
And I also...
Can we take a bit of credit as well? Because the one thing we've been harping on about this Cork team, particularly over the last couple of matches, that if they ditch their slow, ponderous build-up and move the ball quick and long into the full foul line, that they'd win the All-Ireland. Well, they took that on board today.
They did, and another thing that happened as well, and it just goes to show you can never sort of plan these things.
I think it's stretching it a bit for us to take credit for it.
I'm going to take it anyway.
They brought on Graham Canty in the second half, right? Tony Davis was here with us. He wasn't sure was this a right move. He thought this was playing a psychological...
Two things, Michael. He provided leadership, but he brought that calming influence to the thing. And every time he was in possession, that Canty was in possession, he never wasted one single ball.
The key to it was that around the middle of the field, Down simply couldn't get their hands on the ball. I mean, Martin Clark didn't win a break on the ball all day. I mean, it was eventually just that overwhelming possession was converted. And in fairness to Cork, they did really start to play with a spring in their step in the second half. And things that I didn't think I'd see, like Donoghue O'Connor scoring marvellous points, and Daniel Goulding, in fairness, his frees were absolutely impeccable.
That's the Rock.
Chairman O'Sullivan, the Rock, of course, won his All-Irelands with the Cork Hurlers, and he's emotional as well.
And played full forward for the Cork footballers for 1 year as well.
That's great.
Maybe that's an explanation why they were struggling for a while.
In the end, too, what happened was Cork started to get at the weaknesses in the Down team. We did pinpoint beforehand. The down full back line was a bit of a problem. Dan Gordon was a converted midfielder, and Dan Gordon had a lot of trouble with Donoghue O'Connor in the second half, and Damien Rafferty was taken off. So the weaknesses in the down full back line were exposed through this sheer weight of possession that Cork had.
Also, I think that if in fairness, looking at the game in the first half, Cork should have been probably 4 or 5 points ahead, and once they started to convert that domination, I mean, I thought it was a more emphatic victory than the scoreline suggests, really.
And here's another thing I think we should mention, because as we know, the authorities here in Croke are determined to keep the crowd off the field as they did in the hurling final, the football final, and seeing the scenes that we're seeing here and seeing something like Graham Canty able to go down to the supporters.
Michael, yeah, you're right. I would have been a critic, and I was a traditionalist and say let the supporters on. But this is
This is better, isn't it?
It is better,
Let's be honest.
It's a chance for the players.
Well, I totally disagree with you, but
it's a chance for the players to deserve the accolades, to get the accolades they deserve, and a chance for the players to mingle amongst themselves and have a chat among. They'll have plenty of time for meeting the families after.
There's an easy solution for all of this. After the initial euphoria, you could have a horseshoe of all the stewards that are there. Let the people on if they want after about 5 minutes. The GAA people will respond. They're very respectful and affectionate. They'll walk onto the pitch, and then the stewards can direct them to the various exits. I just think it looks weird to have 1,000 bouncers there in the GAA doing this for reasons that I can never understand. I mean, we're told
there's an argument each way, I guess.
I don't like those fences. It's sort of not part of the GAA culture.
But I'm sure if they get this across the line, the fences will come down.
Yeah, they will come down. The other thing about the fence down there, which I think people are being very critical of, is when it rains, it's almost impossible for people on the lower side of the hill to actually see the game.
That's right.
So there's a bit of a mist on the fence. I'd like to see the fences coming down. I'd like to see give the players 5 or 10 minutes and then let the people stroll onto the pitch.
All right, well, most of the crowd down behind those fences were Cork supporters. I think they do realise Cork actually have won the All-Ireland at this stage. We're going to take a short break here in the programme. More on today's All-Ireland football final straight after that.
Super Value and the GAA Football All-Ireland Championship. Real local passion.
It's all change on RTE as the Den makes way for even more new children's programming. RTE Junior from 8:30 to 3:30 weekdays. A safe place full of fun and learning.